Hello and good afternoon and good morning. We are episode 27. It's crazy.
Yeah, hi everyone.
So crazy. I'm interested in this one. I'm always interested in a lot of these topics. There's just so many different topics we can go into, but something that even the market is seeing in general is how long it's taking to get certain projects. People are asking for different things now. So I do want to spend some time on this topic, especially in the compressed air components, because there are so many. There's so many to choose from, and a lot of them can make really big differences for these manufacturers. So it's like, how do we keep, the whole industry moving forward and getting them information that they need to make these decisions?
Yeah. Dania, today I wanted actually to talk more about the component part, as you said, because
Yeah.
I always talk about the system, and I think our listeners had a lot of conversations where I show, oh, if you change here, nothing changes there, and like it can make it worse. So I think that this systemic thinking, it's kind of like a status quo already. It's not a status quo in the field, but let's say in our conversation, it is already. But
Mhm.
wanted actually to provoke today more the component suppliers, especially. You've worked with one.
Mhm.
I worked for Emerson for a couple of years. Before I worked also for Bosch Rexroth.
Mhm.
And frankly speaking, I that like nothing is changing there in terms of the visibility, in terms of the sales.
Mhm.
Uh, Competence of the sales and how the business models are structured.
Mhm.
I recently was talking with one, and then they said, if you want to get our catalog, we're going to send it to you. Thanks God, PDF or via email. So, because a year ago, I spoke with another one who actually handed me the printed catalog. And then I was thinking, because I think we should have this conversation today, me and you, because you're a sales expert and I'm an engineer, I'm a mechanical engineer. And the way how I choose the products, I think they usually don't match with how people sell me the products.
Mhm.
And I experienced this a lot when I worked, for example, as an auditor, as an independent consultant before Direktin happened in my life. Well, I made it happen in my life, and we. But it is so hard to purchase products. I have this very naive question, like how people make money nowadays, because even asking for the A catalog, asking for recently I also approached one company here in Italy to help on the project, and I know that they do it, and it's just so hard to get the information from them. And I'm speaking with the salespeople. Like, no
Mhm.
offense, I don't want to blame salespeople or business models or anything else, but I have a really just like an open question because now even if you go on the websites,
Mhm.
you see enormous amount of the components. And just to give a little bit of the background also for our listeners, a lot of people they're not experts in compressed air systems, so they are not engineering the compressed air system itself, so they don't know that they need this filter, this regulator, this they need a solution. And I think maybe back then, like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I saw bigger companies moving into this solution, but still there is like zero help on the website on where to start with. Then you need to call the salesperson, and then basically after 3 4 months you get finally like talk to an engineer who starts to prepare the entire solution for you. And now I see a lot that the behavior of our behavior of buying things is changing. So
Mhm.
before we would go, I know, to buy things like on the market. Now we go to buy things on Amazon. Then we start to just like a chat. And for example, AI
Mhm.
chatbots for me is like a day-to-day use that I usually like. I want to find something, I just ask it. So
Mhm.
my question is like, when there is such a huge gap between people who ask everything now in the AI chatbots, where to buy this thing, or I can just take a photo and it's okay, buy for me the same tea
Mhm.
as you see
Yeah.
here. I still need to request the catalog via email. and
Mhm.
wait for it, because it's sometimes it's not even an automatic thing, and sometimes I
Yeah.
have to fill up so many things, and I'm like, you want to sell it to me, it's not me. Like, I want to take your product and I want to pay money for you
Yeah.
for this product. So this is what I wanted to ask. I mean, of course, we will lead then at some point that it's important to have some tools, some calculators, and this is what we're doing directing, right? So it
Yeah.
is this coffee is mostly like my engineering, like a sales pitch for our platform to use it for the suppliers. But I just wanted to have this conversation with you to understand what are those obstacles, like why it happened like that, why the salespeople sent me the PDF catalogs. And imagine that I always need, as a customer, I need a solution. I don't want to know what exactly. I need to have certain pressure at my tool. So, but in order to do this, I need to know everything. I need to understand how the compressor room should look like, how my distribution system should look like, how all other components should look like. I want to be sure that there are no problems, so I have to become a subject matter expert. And this is also a very interesting point that I see that the maintenance manager, energy operations, they know way more about compressor system than sometimes even some auditors that
Mhm.
go into the facility. So, but it is so hard to buy nowadays pneumatic components in the world where it's easy to buy everything just with one click and deliver in seconds.
Yes, and I'm gonna be completely open. I love that we didn't even prepare this because now you caught me just in real thinking
Exactly.
because it is a problem, and I actually didn't even notice this until I got out of it, if that makes sense. So, like, I didn't
Okay.
like, when you're in it, you don't recognize that, sometimes it's a little more difficult because when you're in it and I actually more notice this now, trying to work with other suppliers, right? So like now I'm trying to look at what they offer and get information from them and all of this when I was in it, it's like I personally tried to make it easy for whoever contacted me directly, tried to make it as easy as possible to just take a picture, give me this information. Of course, that's more on the salesperson, I think, than the company because like you said, there's knowledge that you need to gather on that. That's maybe outside of the scope of just the product knowledge that you need to know
Mhm.
on what you're selling, right? You need to take it upon yourself to go learn about other systems, to learn about different industries and how they use it. So there is a lot that goes into it from the salesperson perspective. So if I remove myself as the salesperson and then you're looking at the business, we've even had some conversations recently where they're like, hey, if and it's even on Amazon and our phones, everything's listening and gathering information because nowadays information is and attention are like top. It's before people even order anything. Everybody needs the attention and they need data. So data is king. Everybody wants to gather information, gather emails, phone numbers, anything they can from these people. So now it's how do you do that when everything is web based and so many people aren't calling in anymore? Is to put all of those questionnaires and to say,
Hmm.
hey, in order to unlock this, you have to give me your data, which for me is super valuable because now I can follow up, I can reach out, I have something like, hey, you were looking at this. So
Ah,
then,
okay.
then it
Okay.
goes into this cycle. So, and like you're saying, they don't really match up. Both
Mm.
so like the engineering person, so say where you were working, you're the engineer, your information is valuable for anybody trying to sell you anything, right? So now you're looking at these two competing businesses who are trying to do the same thing for their customers, if that makes sense.
I
So
understand what you say. Yeah. So for me, like that's the thing, because if I want to get some data, I feel like it's very hard for me to get. I always need to put my information, do the stuff. There is like no calculation, something. So I always like need to give something away. And then like people start like to approach me. And then
Mhm.
at some moment, like you end up, even like with the CRM system that was setting up now. I mean, honestly, it's a nightmare. Like we used in the one function, and now in order to purchase that function, and I have my credit card ready, I want to pay this money now. but I have to book a call that is going to happen next Wednesday to talk with
Yeah.
the person to do that. But I don't even need like I don't need like, I don't think there is some, of course I understand he will try to sell me more, but I think
Yeah.
there is still this threshold of the credibility,
Mhm.
that's the thing. Because when I see, when all the data, and I'm talking now not as a salesperson but as a user of this,
Yeah.
um, if all the data is hidden and I can't even see the catalog on the web
Mhm.
page, and I can't even access to some information about the product, I feel that I don't want to trust this. And I
Mhm.
will only come to the company if they want, they have some additional cool sales tools, or like some additional tools that
Mhm.
I want to purchase. So it actually becomes, in my opinion, a
Mhm.
hot lead, a ready to purchase person, rather than you they hide everything just in order to get an email. So just in order to enlarge your CRM base.
Mhm.
So for me, as a user, but at the same also as an entrepreneur, it doesn't make sense. So I prefer give our website for free with all our calculation tools,
Mhm.
and only some additional features that are required. Then you can just leave an email and ask things, and then like book a call. Because especially a lot of engineers are kind of like introverts, so for me it is like always like a nightmare, like to book a call for the function that I've been using. Now it's blocked, and now I need to purchase it again. And
Yeah.
but also for the data availability from the suppliers,
Mhm.
it is so hard to find anything on the websites now. There are some suppliers where it looks fine, so you have
Mhm.
the data sheets, you have some filtering, but there are some websites that it is just a nightmare.
Yeah.
And the catalogs of pneumatic equipment, it's a nightmare. I was checking another day one for the project. I had to model some system, and it was a vacuum ejector, and it is about, I think it was about 30 pages of the technical data. I mean, okay, it's fine, it's well organized, but honestly, in 2026, you can make it way easier. Just in
Mhm.
like, I needed a certain time, certain pressure, certain flow, and certain like the
Mhm.
vacuum level, and that would be for me enough. And I just wanted to match the product and find it. So, is it really just to make people try to contact sales? Because the world is competitive. I prefer then to go to the supplier that has everything available, that has some tools that can help me,
Mhm.
because I lose very often, very quick my patience just to keep looking and waiting for the email, and
Yeah.
then it makes also quite a bad user experience for me. The same thing like for this. Again, I'm coming back to CRM system. I'm gonna name it here, but you can make the same thing also in pneumatic components
Mhm.
equipment. If you cannot find things, if the data is not available, if I don't say that the website has to look pretty, but honestly nowadays with all AI tools, with all the vibe coding thing, like just make it in a couple of days. um, there is it's I don't know why is it our industry so slow, because you see the transformation in others, of why there is like no, or they like don't want to share some important information. But to be honest, I mean, like one cylinder ISO standard based will not be very different from another one. And
Yeah.
pneumatic equipment is extremely simple, I would say, especially when I don't talk with like with some special valves or something like that. But there are not so many moving components. So honestly, like it's not a rocket science to create
Yeah.
some pneumatic equipment.
Yeah.
Yes, but what I think we should, I think that this is could be like something maybe for suppliers to more to be sensitive
Mhm.
about, and to think about, like that they should make their information also available to customers and make customers come to
Mhm.
them.
Yeah, and I think this is a very interesting and a more complicated conversation because for me, I'm always like, okay, keep it simple. I like my purchasing habits, which is maybe ask ChatGPT or take a picture. Like the new phones, you could take a picture and they show you exactly where to buy it, right? And we want that in the rest of our lives, like even for work. But for some reason, when you put it into the work category and industrial, it's completely different. There's no taking a picture. Maybe it is more complex. And something that I always go back to is rules. I don't even want to say rules. So things are put in place because somebody ruined it. And
Mm,
I'll go into something because So say someone had their whole catalog, they wanted to make it super easy, right? And someone purchased it, but they purchased the wrong one. And then now they're like, your company doesn't work. I plugged it in, it didn't work, it ruined my machine. And then they never talked to anybody, they never seen anything, never did anything. And now it's, a bad, and people are more likely to leave a bad comment and a bad review than a good one.
Of
Then
course.
you're getting these. And I've seen this happen in a couple different businesses, which is why I think people are like, oh, you need to talk to someone because we've had so many companies mess up and leave bad reviews. So we need to fix our reviews and then we need to have a hand in it, And so I think that creates a big gap here between how engineers, and of course isn't all engineers. I'm not saying engineers specifically are incapable of choosing the right one. It's maybe other people who then are just loud about it and then go and put their
Yeah,
comments everywhere. So that's what I mean when someone ruins it for like the rest of the people who can go in and make their own choices, right?
I understand. So what you basically say is that there is still has to be the human touch before purchasing something, because then a person as an expert can help way better than just like a people that are checking some things like in the catalog. So that's kind of like it has to be like a symbiosis on that, that you're not
Yeah.
just like purchasing like on Amazon some product, but you have actually a consultant who can help you, that is subject matter expert on this. But I still think that it has to be an additional layer to that.
Hmm.
And we now just launched our full calculator platform. So this is this. I think this can be nice. It's completely free, so you don't have to purchase or go anywhere for that. What we have is that you have our website. It's now directintech.com, and basically you have here the full information, all a lot of the calculators. And here what was my usual desire is that you don't start with the choosing the component, but you start with what you have, and then it helps to choose the component depending on your operation conditions, depending on your pressures, depending on your thing. And this is basically how it works. So here you have all the physical calculations, and based on this it already can recommend you some components. And only on this moment, once you like add it to bill of material, you can actually contact then the supplier for that, and already the supplier can just double check if this truly works for your system or not, if it's like fine. But it's already kind of like a pre-selection, because to I don't project the system to have cooling system, or for example cleaning system. I don't think about the maybe air knife as a person who is not working in that. But
Hmm.
I see here that I can actually see if I have some drilled pipe, how much it's going to cost, which component I should have for different types of applications. So, and then you can have the compressor calculators and this kind of things, filters, dryers, all this thing can show you in which direction at least you should go.
Hmm.
And I really think that I really think it would be nice to have some smarter catalogs, maybe from
Hmm.
suppliers, in order to help to guide it. Like,
Hmm.
still get the connection with the salespeople, with experts, with engineers, but not to hide this information, because really like, there is not just one, this only one single supplier. The competition now is huge on the market, and yeah, well, taking photo and sending it to the snapshot and checking what is the best recommendation for that.
Yeah, and I'm really happy to be part of something like this because this is really what is missing. And I know now it sounds like a sales pitch, but if you just go based off of what we just said, engineers are looking for these, but the companies want to make sure that the right product gets purchased. So when it gets implemented, they can get that good review and say, hey, I did this, it worked, it solved my problems, I had a pressure drop, or I had this, and it's great, lifesaver, it was easy, quick, thank you. And we got a comment, why do people hesitate to email or call the tech or sales support? Because we're trying to sell them something. I mean,
Yeah,
if I'm buying anything, like I'm buying, this cup. if they would have told me in order to get our logo on here, I had to call somebody, I'm like, can't I just
No,
put the logo and hit buy? My
exactly.
Google card is right here. I already know that I need something. I don't need you to sell me.
No, not only no, no, not only that. For example, I don't like to talk with people on the phone. I don't know. I just don't like. I don't like. That's the thing for me. I don't like to call like before before I need to call. I want to feel at least here my freedom that I just go on the website, I search, I take my time, I have my coffee, and then I just like purchase things like whenever I want. I mean, this is the commodity. Okay,
Yeah.
why people don't? It's the same thing. Like why people don't wait until the Sunday newspaper, the postman will bring it like hand it like that. A lot of people go online because a lot of people just don't want to communicate with the postman,
Yeah.
don't want to take this. It's
Mhm.
this is what I'm thinking about is the behavior is changing. Our consuming behavior is changing,
It
and
is.
I think we need should be always be online. So a lot of people, for example, for our software, they don't book a call with me, but I see that they to help to guide, but they I see that they download the new versions of this. So like they actively did using it, but yeah, that's the risk to buy the wrong stuff and then complain.
Yeah.
Well,
So
we complain as people,
this
right?
this is where the gap is,
Exactly.
where these smart calculators come in, and it doesn't even have to be our calculators. If companies have a way
Some
to
tools,
filter
exactly.
something, that some tool to do it their own,
Yeah.
then you reduce that risk, right?
At
Imagine
least like you purchase it, you get a request. Sorry to interrupt. You get a request. You already know what you want. The person already sees what the pressures, flows, what you need, color, anything. And then before you purchase it, you get the consultation from the salesperson because
Mhm.
I want to purchase exactly this without any additional stuff. Because as you said before, when you have just an initial call, the salesperson feels that you're not confident, and very often they try to sell you more. So that's the thing, and this is what people don't like. So people want to feel control of the usually of the situation. It's a very fine psychological thing.
Well, I think that's why Amazon is so successful. Imagine if we're scrolling on Amazon and put something in our cart and then someone called us. Like, I'd be like, "Get me off of Amazon. I'm not gonna pay extra to be on here." But then you can filter through Amazon, you can read all the reviews and make your own decisions that way. So even that's conditioning us.
Exactly, exactly. Because we trust more reviews, we trust other people' experience rather than we trust the person who is selling it. Unfortunately, it's been like for, I don't know, I'm sure there are some dissertation books written on that,
I'm
on
sure
the
there
buyer,
I'm
but
sure too.
so especially for suppliers of compressed air because their main users are engineers and like were very like specific also type of people. So I prefer to first to search online, did my research, know what I want, be in control of the situation, already tell what I want, and then to discuss if the solution works or not, but
Yeah.
not just start like from the beginning.
Yeah, and I
But
can
yeah,
see definitely how, I mean, even when I'm trying to call certain suppliers for even projects that we're working on, we can't even find their data
no,
online. So
very often.
it's very interesting, and it doesn't have to be proprietary information, just general
Just a
spec.
catalog, just
Yeah,
the general information,
yeah.
publicly available.
Yeah, I don't
Yes.
think we're gonna solve world problems on this call, but maybe we can bring some more awareness, maybe some curiosity, that there are new tools out,
Yeah.
for this specific niche, in compressed air. Um, so I
And
think we
also some comments of the suppliers and the people like Natik is asking us like about this behavior. Like what is your usual like behavior of buying? What you prefer, how you prefer to purchasing, how you look for the information for new components. Like do you wish that some suppliers will be more open or you really love to talk with all the people in the company there? So that's the thing. One thing is that when you have already established relationship, of course, but when it's just a new, it's a very hard. But
Mhm.
also some comments also of the suppliers of the components, producers, like what is your next goals in the marketing and sales this year? So it will be really
Yeah,
helpful.
yeah, and like the name of this, everything's transitioning right now. There's a lot of people who like the catalogs to sit on their desk, but, it's in that phase where there's a very big difference. There's people who like the catalogs and people who don't want anything to do with anything except to take a picture and do AI and get an answer, with whatever
Correct.
data they can. So we're in this change right now, and we're right in the middle of it. And they're very extreme changes. It's not, like back in the day where you had no phone, you had a pay phone, then a fax machine, and then this, like, it
Exactly.
was very quick. It was very quick from catalog to AI instant Amazon,
So
So
things are changing quick, and I think we should be really on track.
yeah.
Well, saying this, I think we can wish wonderful weekend, everyone. So check our new platform for the calculators, and see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.